Can also, yeah, all right.
Hey, boxing fans, what's going on? We're here live again, 86 boxing. Man, crazy day, crazy night. I already was telling you, Boz, that I was up pretty much all night dealing with some water in the home type situation, and that's never a good thing right there. So
No, you
that
know,
aside, the show must go on. A lot of good boxing action was still in the mix. So how's it going on your end?
unfortunately, we have been fortunate to not have any floods, you know. Well, not serious ones anyway, so not in my neighborhood. But that's really, yeah, I can imagine such a terrible thing to
Oh
go
yeah,
through.
yeah, yeah.
An
Yeah, no doubt
ordeal,
about it.
yeah.
It's all good though. All
Mm.
good. No time for pettiness on my end.
Yeah,
or
yeah.
getting little somber tones. Do you hear that? That's the sound of the world's tiniest violin.
Could
but
have been worse. You know, you can always console yourself. At least, you know, the whole house wasn't flooded.
yeah,
So,
yeah. I need to
yeah.
get some sage, burn some sage or something.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
All
But
right.
cool, man. But yeah, hey, so boxing action again. The little guys
Mm,
got a little shine here tonight as far as
the
being
little
able
guys.
to being able to get an opportunity to headline, and in this case, it was Juan Francisco Estrada, who is regarded as one of the top fighters in the world,
Yeah.
pound for pound, down there at Superfly, and he took on a fighter by the name of Cortez in Mexico. And this turned out to be a very, very good fight. I
Yeah.
was able to catch the fight in the midst of a lot of other things weighing up my mind. But that being said, man, they really put on a show there. It's Argi Cortez, and I don't know
Yeah.
if it was expected to be such a contest that was back and forth and really drag them out, but it turned out to be the case. I know you were able to catch it, Boz. So what did you think of it?
Yeah, I was able to see it because Boxing Azteca they uploaded. Thank you for that on YouTube. So I watched the whole fight. Yeah, I mean, it was one hell of a fight, as you said. And the first three rounds, I thought Estrada was definitely better. But then after that, Cortez, he came on and won. I thought he won the next three rounds. And then the seventh, of course, Estrada had a big one and scored a knockdown. Yeah, that was
Yeah.
good, good stuff by Estrada. But then after that, I thought he just kind of, I don't know why, whether he thought he was doing well and didn't need to you know to do so much to win. But
Yeah.
he kind of he took a break, I guess, and or also Cortez came back strong in the eighth round and I thought he won the eighth, ninth, and the tenth, and then the 11th was kind of close, but I gave it
Hmm.
to Estrada, and the 12th also I gave. That's one he definitely deserved. He came back strong in the end.
All
So
right. Good to
that
go.
experience, the experience difference did show actually because Estrada was good at counter punching, but he also took a lot of big, I mean, hard, clean shots.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That experience factor definitely is a plus considering Estrada. Yeah, he's been in there with the top guys there at Superfly, some of them on multiple occasions, and he's been doing it for a long period of time. Even though he's only maybe like 33 or something like that.
Yeah, or
But especially
35, maybe. Yeah,
yeah, especially those guys at that weight, they usually fight at a higher pace than what we see at some of the larger rates this day and age and everything. But I'm with you. Yeah, it was definitely a close fight. After Estrada got that knockdown, I thought he was about to get Cortez out of there actually, but
yeah,
got to give Cortez his props. He showed some grit. He was able to really sustain or take that shot that took him down. He was able to take it. I mean, overcome and sustain the sort of pace that he was putting up in the
Yeah,
beginning, because he came on stronger there as the rounds started to close out. So he recovered well. That just shows
mm,
that, yeah, if there was a question as to whether he belonged, I think he showed that he belongs there in the conversation with the elites at that weight, and I think
yeah,
this is gonna earn him more opportunities. So hopefully we get to see him again, in
yeah,
addition to Estrada.
yeah. That was a really nice surprise. I didn't know who he was before this, but now I sure do, of course. And he definitely one must say, even though on paper Estrada deserved to win. I thought that actually Cortez kind of looked better in this fight than Estrada
Hmm.
because yeah,
Yeah, and I was just looking at Cortez. I was just looking at his record, and his two losses came in his third and fourth fight. So he's been on
oh
a
yeah,
streak since then. So he's has
mm,
23 wins. So he really has grown since then, and you can see by the fact that he was able to hang it there with one of the best in the world. And this is
yeah,
consensus around boxing fans, pundits alike, all agree that Estrada is one of the best fighters in the world, and Cortez, he hung right in there. So that
mm,
that that's that's a bright spot for him as he moves forward in his career.
oh yeah, for sure.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, Estrada has been, in the game for quite a long time among the elite. I mean, and now he kind of looks like. I mean, I think he didn't actually. I think this was his first fight this year, wasn't it? I
Oh
believe.
yeah, I believe it might have been because
Uh,
it's let me
so
see.
I don't know really. This fight showed that he still isn't, of course, finished a serious fighter, but he
Yeah,
might
he's
not.
been out for about a year and a half because he hasn't fought since that last Chocolatito fight, which was March 13th, 2021.
Oh
So
yeah,
the
right.
layoff could have had some play into it for sure.
Yeah, that's right. And as I said, I believe he's 35, so he's nearing the end of his
Hmm.
best years. So maybe he actually his best years are finished, but we don't know. Maybe this was just because he had been so inactive for so long, but that will show in his next fight, I guess.
Yeah.
Uh, he
Yeah, I think it's gonna be telling. So I put he's 32. He's actually 32.
32, yeah, but
I
that's
bet.
an old 32, I
Yeah,
would
yeah,
say.
no 32,
Yeah,
especially at that weight. Those guys at those lower weights, fighting wise,
yeah,
sometimes age like the fighters back in the day who were fighting very often. Because way
yeah,
back in the day, by 32, 33, or something, you were getting ready to retire because of all the fights
yeah.
you had been through.
Yeah, and maybe also because they are small, their body doesn't take it as well as I don't know with bigger men. But it's also the style, as you said. They fight
Yeah.
like roosters, just pecking away each other. Just
Yeah, indeed. That certainly factors in. And shout out to my mom. Says 86 and
oh,
buys. Keep up the good work. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate you dropping in, checking us out.
thanks.
Always faithful. Semper Fidelis. That's what they say in the Marine Corps. So you're always faithful here on the
Our
broadcast.
our
We
most
appreciate it.
she's our most faithful fan, along with that guy Rodolfo. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
For 1 second, I forgot his actual name. But
Rodolfo. Shout out Rodolfo Rivera. When you hop
yeah.
up in here, see the replay or whatever, we
Mm.
remembered you. But yeah, man, good stuff for Estrada. So
Yeah,
I was mentioning before the broadcast that Rodolfo actually had sent me a flyer, and it looked like it was from DAZN that shows December 3rd. There will be Juan Francisco Estrada versus Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez 3. This will be
yeah.
part 3, the third time fighting. The series is 1-1 at this point.
Hmm.
And the last fight was great. just as the first fight, and that means that this, I think, just stylistically matchup wise, they're kind of made for each other. So I think this one will be great. I think they're a lot like
Yeah.
Pacquiao and Marquez, how they made for good fights, just because it's just like an excellent matchup of two
Mm.
individuals who are generally sort of at their best at the same time. And I believe this is the same with Estrada and
Mm.
Gonzalez. So December 3rd is what I believe I saw. Now I need to double check
Oh,
that
it's
to see the
yeah,
validity of that, but it seems like they had this planned in the background, and we of course heard chatter of that third fight. I mean, that's the
yeah.
thing. That's the fight that
Mm.
fans have been looking for in general. So, what do you think of that third fight potentially going down?
Of course, it will be. I think probably another classic fight, and I just saw now that it's Chocolatito actually who is 35, so that's what I
Oh yeah,
mixed up. Yeah, I think it will be just another, a war, very likely, but it will also, I guess, establish which one of them is, like has more, how to say, it, is is ready for retirement, or at least retirement from elite level fights, because they have been both
yeah,
at it, for quite a while now, and yeah, there is a
yeah.
limit, always to how long you can do that. Yeah,
Yeah. I'm with you there. They have been going get it. Yeah, Chocolatito. He was he's been doing this thing for a while, and at one point was regarded as the best fighter in the world. He lost, of
yeah,
course, to Saristakat Sorungvisai, and then it was seemingly like, hey, this may be the end of Chocolatito,
yeah.
but he was able to come back, and
Hmm.
he's looked as good as ever here in his last two fights, I would say. Um, and to be honest, in that fight with Estrada last year, I actually thought that Chocolatito might have gotten the edge on him. At least that's the way I saw it. And I know I wasn't the only one. But that being said, it was a great fight for both of them,
Yeah.
and it was a close fight. So
Hmm.
I could see it going either way. I just had a slight edge towards, slight nod towards Chocolatito, and I felt like what he was able to do offensively was the difference. But
Yeah.
hey, that's one of those flip a coin type matchups in rivalries
Hmm.
right there.
Yeah, well, I would say that Gonzalez Chocolatito is like a little bit more of a typical, knockout minded fighter anyway, puncher, or But while Estrada is more like a boxing, uh, a boxer, and I guess, well, you can call him a puncher, even though he's not that, uh, you know, a
Yeah,
really thunderous puncher. But he does have. I mean, we saw it also last night. He
yeah,
put this guy down, a younger guy, a fresher guy. So
yeah. That is true. Yeah, he's not a thunderous puncher, but he
yeah,
can certainly punch well, and he puts
yeah,
shots together very good.
with precision, with
Yeah.
accuracy. That's very important. Not everybody can do that.
Yeah,
So
that's one of his key traits right there. I believe the shot that may have dropped Cortez, I believe it was a body shot, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, first he was hurt by I don't know, a shot, a punch to the head, and I don't know if it was an uppercut. Well, anyway, yeah, it was in the end a body punch that put him down.
Yeah, yeah, cool. Yeah, man. I mean, that was a treat to see, and
Yeah,
yeah, I did confirm. So it looks like the zone did tweet out the expectation that there's going to be a December 3rd fight between Estrada and Chocolatito. So, for all intents and purposes, it looks like this is actually going down. I'm gonna share my screen just for the viewers there that
mm,
haven't seen it, or
mm,
at least thus far they may not have seen it. So as you can see here, This came from DAZN
Yeah,
December
nice.
3rd. So it looks like this is legitly official. Uh, Now, I'm sure as we were talking, Boz, a little bit earlier, they probably didn't expect the fight to be as competitive and drag them out as this fight was between Estrada and Cortez. So
Yeah,
I can only imagine that probably plays, or that probably could have some play into whether this December 3rd date changes. It may stay here
yeah,
as it is. Estrada did take some damage in that fight, though, as you mentioned earlier, Cortez wasn't a huge puncher or anything, but he was able to land some pretty nice stuff on Estrada. And
yeah.
but this seems to be
He
sort of
did.
predetermined in some sense, and
Yeah, I mean,
we're gonna get it. We're gonna get that third fight, which is a plus. But certainly Estrada, he will have needed to have some pretty solid rest or whatever.
yeah. I mean, this is not the fight he needed. The first fight or the comeback fight, if you want to call it. This is definitely not. That wasn't the best opponent for him. It turned out, because on paper, when you see his record, you go, "Oh yeah, he got two losses, 20 something wins." You think, "Oh, that he probably isn't that good." But then you see him fight, and in the first three rounds, as I said, he didn't really show much, anything special. But then after that, he just started coming on more and more, you know, and
Yeah.
in the eighth round, I saw when he was landing those punches to the head, it really looked Estrada looked really like bothered and even tired, from
Hmm.
it. It looked like they were getting to him those punches. So gotta give him props for
Oh
coming
yeah.
back so late after all the punishment that he took. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. I'm with you there. Yeah, I think those are all great observations there, and they kind of summed up the fight. But this is the type of stuff that the boxing fans really like and want to see. We need more of
mm,
this. Guys who are not afraid to just go out there and take on those opponents that are going to offer them a true hard fight, and that was the case with these two guys last night.
yeah,
Now, also this card in general was a pretty solid card. So the
mm,
co-main event was also a title contest. It was for a junior flyweight title, and
oh, yeah. I
it was
saw.
two. It was two fighters. Sevenanti
Yeah, I saw
Nonshita.
some highlights of those fights. A few of
Yeah,
them. Yeah,
one of them was South African,
yeah.
not Shinga. I'm sure I'm saying his name wrong. I remember it from last night, but I can't
Yeah,
remember
it's
exactly how to pronounce it.
Sivenati, no,
But he was taking on Hector Flores. Yeah,
yeah, no
and
Shinga. Uh,
it was another one of those sort of barn burner type drag them out, knock them down fights in terms of both
yeah,
these guys were throwing a crazy amount of punches at a crazy pace as well, that they were able to keep up with that same pace at least throughout the end of the fight, and even finished at one of those sort of high pace, just throwing everything, including the kitchen sink, at each other there at the end. And it ended up being the South African who won the fight. But you can tell that, man, that fight took a lot out of both of them, especially even the
yeah,
winner, because he looked pretty tired, and he looked a little bit out of it there and couldn't fully celebrate the way he wanted to when he got the win. And they
yeah.
even mentioned in the broadcast of the Estrada fight that he had threw up in the back and they had to take him to the hospital. So I don't know what
Mm,
the latest is from him, but this was two guys just banging it out like two true warriors, and it was a hell of a fight. It might have outshined the actual main event in some sense, which was a great fight in itself. So
yeah.
craziness.
Well, I don't know about outshining, but it was. I mean, I just caught some highlights from that fight, and I guess the knockdown was mainly what gave
Yeah,
the this guy, what's his name, some Shin or something, the
Shinga.
victory. Yeah, Yeah, I thought that from what I saw anyway, that the Flores was kind of doing more damage anyway in those highlights. That's what it looked like, after getting knocked down. So it
Yeah.
was definitely a questionable. It looked like I can't say because I haven't seen the whole fight, but kind of looked like questionable decision.
Yeah, and actually Flores came in 20-0-4, so he 4 draws, 10
Mm.
knockouts, and his 20 victories. All of his fights except one had taken place in Mexico, but he fought Jay Harris. Oh yeah, I recall that. So he beat Jay Harris back in 2021, who was this
Yeah,
European fighter, or
uh,
English fighter.
at least you can't say those judges are biased because Flores is a Mexican and he lost
Yeah, yeah.
on points. So that's a good thing, I guess.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, he can. And then Nonshinga, he actually had all of his fights prior to this had taken place in South Africa. He came in at 10-0 with 9 knockouts. So he has generally seems to have some pop to him. But
Yeah,
I I I thought that, man, these two guys brought it, and you're right. The fact that he was able to get that decision showed that the scoring was favorable, or fair in
mm,
this sense,
mm,
and that is good because you shouldn't have to worry that you're gonna lose your chance or opportunity due to the hands of a hometown judge when everything is sort of against you as far as how
yeah,
things are lined
yeah,
up. So.
yeah. That would be unfair. I see this guy is very young, and this guy,
Oh
some
yeah.
non China. Yeah.
Shout out Andre Rodriguez. Appreciate you dropping in, buddy.
Hello, Andre.
Andre, yeah, appreciate you dropping in. Also, shout out John Perkinson. Appreciate you dropping in as well, buddy. Always enjoy chatting with you. He says
Hello.
Luis Ortiz by 5.
No, 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 no. So
Hey,
that
this
fight is actually this tonight. So I didn't know that.
yes, a Sunday pay per view. A rare one, but we've seen actually a couple this year
Yeah,
thus far.
beginning
So
to get more,
I don't
more
mind it.
common.
More boxing to check out for us. But
Yeah.
yeah, we'll certainly get to that right there, John. And I think we're gonna be on opposite sides here tonight.
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
but yeah,
Louis.
man, yeah. But yeah, the card last night for those here attending, yeah, it was a great card. We were talking Juan Francisco Estrada, him taking on uh, Argi Cortes, and how that was a great fight. Then the co-main was another good fight where these two guys were just really going at it. Not and
Flores.
Flores, South African versus Mexican fighter Flores. And Natshinga, he won a junior flyweight title last night in
IBF.
Mexico in a great fight. I think this fight could have outshined the main event as far as just that sustained back and forth action. And
Uh,
so it was good to see.
I think the main fight actually is the candidate for fight of the year. I would say definitely.
Yeah. So
Mm.
there you hear it. There you have it right there. Yeah, fight of the year candidate. Yeah, and yeah, man, that's good to see. And this card in general in itself was a very very good card just overall
Mm.
because you had a lot of nicely even fights as far as you felt that everyone had an opportunity or a chance to pull off the win in this fight
Yeah.
or in these fights last night that were a part of this card. So there was also the fight before the co-main event. It was a triple header. It was a triple header title fight card, and there was a women's fight for the titles, as a matter of fact.
Mm.
And it's I believe it's the fighter. I believe she's from Denmark.
Yeah,
Mer,
that was. Yeah,
what?
that was the one that I was telling you about. She fought Jelena Marjanovic. She
Yeah,
lost
Marjanovic.
to that Mexican fighter. What's her name?
Yeah,
Yeah. Lopez or something. I don't.
So Marjanovic, she had fought Jelena Marjanovic. She fought Erica Cruz Hernandez. This was
Oh
a
yeah.
rematch. They had fought, and I remember seeing the last fight as well. But they had fought in 2021 back in
Mm.
April, and Marjanovic lost via decision in technical decision in the
Yeah.
seventh round. I
All
believe
right.
she got a. So yeah, she ended up getting a headbutt, and so it went to the card. But she was down, and
Right.
realistically, I thought that Erica Cruz Hernandez showed that she just has Marjanovic's number at this
Yeah,
particular point. So
but she's also 40 years old now,
yeah, that
so
is true.
she
She is
shouldn't.
40.
Yeah, shouldn't be fighting anymore. I don't know what she does, but I guess for the love of the sport. But
Yeah,
yeah,
she was trying to get her title back, but yeah,
yeah.
she
I
had switched.
hope. Yeah, I
Go
hope
ahead.
it's not for the money. Anyway, that's not a
It
good
may
thing.
be legacy for, but certainly,
Yeah,
I'm sure money probably was a factor as well because
yeah,
some of the women are starting to get more shine and get
yeah. More
bigger
money.
purses. So she wants to be in the mix of that as well. While she still can.
Yeah, and the next weekend is big. Gonna be a big one for women's boxing.
Oh
Talk
yeah,
about
yeah,
two
huge.
major unification fights. Wow, man.
Yeah, huge fights. But
That's
yeah,
yeah.
so we'll see what goes on with Marjanovic if she hangs it up. She had switched over to trainer Sugar Hill, who
All right.
was helping her. They said she helped her get her balance right as far as when she was throwing punches. But certainly, I think it was the youth of Cruz Hernandez and her ability to land the cleaner
Yeah.
shots, especially those hooks she was throwing. I think that is
Mm,
what overwhelmed Marjanovic. And yeah, at this point, like you said, at 40,
mm,
yeah, it's a question of where does she go from here? Maybe retirement's her best option, but
mm.
of course, if the right payday comes, I'm sure she's probably not thinking that it's over for her.
And she kept walking into those, shots, those hooks, and I watched those highlights. So it was only at the end, and very last round, she looked like she was landing something, but yeah, it didn't
Yeah,
really do much good. Too late, also.
yeah, and much like the last fight, I felt like yeah, she didn't. Yeah, when you look at it from a round by round basis, it wasn't even close. So that shows that she just may not have the ability to pull that trigger in the same way she could in the past.
No, that's right.
So yeah, but
She's been, there for a while now.
yeah, she has a lot of fights, especially when you think about the women at this point. Yeah, in
Wow,
terms of how many fights they have.
55 actually, she said.
Yeah,
Uh,
crazy.
yeah,
Crazy. So yeah, we'll see where she goes from here. As far as Erica Cruz, she called out Amanda Serrano, so her wish may be granted at some point in the future. And I think that's going to make for a good fight. I certainly favor Serrano as a more polished boxer overall because Cruz is susceptible to throwing some wider shots, even though they were landing on Marjanovic. I don't think they
yeah,
will be landing the same way without any sort of shot coming or straight shots coming back. In the case of if she steps in there with Serrano, who's pretty solid at that. So
yeah.
interesting fight.
This fight was actually for WBA featherweight title, so I didn't know that.
Okay,
Mm.
WBA feather. Yeah, so I think Cruz has had the belt. She won it from Marjanovic
Yeah,
back in
she did.
2021.
Mm. So it was like one last chance to get even, I guess, for Yelena.
Yeah, and she
Yeah.
hadn't fought since April of 2021, so she was well over a year out. I
Mm.
mean, I guess that's yeah. Once that inactivity starts to creep up,
Yeah.
especially at that age, it certainly doesn't help either.
Inertia creeps. That's one song that goes. Inertia creeps. Slow.
Yeah, It happens. It happens like that,
Yeah.
man. It happens. So yeah, man, that was it for that card. There were some other fights on that card that were good as well. But there was also a Sky Sports card, and I was trying to catch it, but I wasn't able to catch it, so I haven't seen any of the
No.
fights. But Liam Smith pulled off a victory over Wakinyo, who is a fighter
Hassan.
from Africa. It looks like Tanzania,
Yeah,
based on the flag.
Tanzania. Mm.
So yeah, Liam Smith was able to get a 4th round stoppage victory, and he
Pretty
continues his
impressive.
streak of looking pretty. I haven't seen a fight, but I'm assuming he looked pretty good.
Yeah.
Continues that streak. He's been in bounce back mode, and he's trying to
And
show that he's the best of the best of the Smith brothers right now.
yeah. Even though Marquinhos hadn't fought for exactly a year, but he was coming off a stoppage victory over Julius Sindongo, and he's
Oh, okay.
he's 27, so it's not like he was like in his 30s. That then you can say, oh, the long layoff affected him. So I don't think
Yeah.
that's what happened.
Got a
Yeah.
victory over Oindungo. Cool,
Yeah.
cool. So yeah, this is one I'm definitely gonna have to go back and check out. I wanted to see it. I was looking high and mighty. I just could not find it. Of course, I'm not over there in the UK, so that makes it tough.
Seems to me that the zone have been focusing a lot on American cards recently, more than on actually British ones. So that sometimes it
Yeah.
really frustrates me because I cannot watch American boxing live unless I stay up like all night, and that's not
Yeah,
something
it
I
is
enjoy.
pretty crazy.
Yeah. So
It's
this is
like
the
that.
one happening in this time zone that does suit me, but I can't watch so often, because Sky Sports are sending it. So I get like, oh.
Yeah. Certainly understand. Yeah, this would have been a cool one to see on the zone or something. I was looking at the promoter was Benjamin Shalom,
Oh yeah.
who I'm not 100% familiar with. I don't know what
I
the
think
name
I'm
of.
gonna take these
Oh, he's
off. Yeah.
Boxer.
Starting to.
Boxxer. That company Boxer. That's who Benjamin is with.
All right.
I know of them.
I'm gonna take a
So
knife.
yeah, I wanted to try to watch the replays. I know Natasha Jonas. She ended up
Yeah.
winning her fight as well. She took on a Patricia Bergolt, I believe is how it's pronounced. And she already had one title. I think Bergolt might have had a title herself. No, she had the WBC super welterweight title. So Natasha Jonas had the WBO. So it looks like Natasha got the 10-round decision, and therefore she now has 2 of the titles, WBO and WBC, at super welterweight, Miss
Yeah.
GB.
Hmm.
So
Natasha Jones. All right.
yeah, and then there was fighter Aziz and Pitters. I
Oh
don't know if I
yeah.
know either of them actually, to be
Dan
honest.
Aziz, yeah, he's like pretty highly rated now for now in UK, I think.
Yeah. I don't know that I've seen him actually.
A light heavyweight.
At least I don't recall if I did.
But he's 33 already. Wow. So that's 17 fights only. Talk
Oh
about
yeah.
starting late.
Oh yeah. So I imagine he's trying to fast track his way to a title.
Yeah. Probably.
Okay, yeah. So it looks like Aziz, he got a decision victory, so he continues to move on. We'll see what he does here. Yeah, I can't speak on a ton of it because I didn't see it, but it looks like
Right.
it looks like or at least it looked on paper like it was going to be a pretty decent card. So I'm going to try and catch some highlights or whatever replays are available on YouTube, and we'll see where it goes. But that was like the last main card. Of course, we have some big cards that are coming up. One tonight, as a matter of fact. And it's a pay-per-view though, but it's Andy Ruiz Jr. making his heavyweight return against Luis Ortiz, who is back in the mix here for the first time, I believe, since he beat Charles Martin not too long ago.
All right. Yeah.
So
So,
John
yeah.
Perkinson says he has Luis Ortiz winning a fight by stoppage in the 5th round. What do you think, Boz? How do you see this? Ortiz versus Ruiz. It's a matchup that has been rumored for a good little while, but it's finally here.
Yeah, I mean, and Andy Ruiz looks like he's in really good shape now, so that's good. That's positive.
Yeah.
So I think he knows by now that he cannot afford, lose more big fights because he's out of shape. So I think he will probably win this fight because he's just, I guess, too fast, too good. I mean, as a boxer, and for Ortiz, who is getting old now, and
Yeah.
he's slower and bigger and slower and heavier and all that. So it's gonna be a good challenge. I mean, it's gonna be a challenging fight for Ruiz still, because he has to stay away from the punches from the guy who we know can hit, of course, through
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
King Kong. Yeah. So I still think Andy Reid will probably come out on top.
Yeah, I'm gonna side with you there. I think the youth is gonna help Andy Ruiz
Yeah.
prevail. Now Ortiz, yeah, he's been around for a minute. He can box. We know that he's from the Cuban school.
Yeah.
So anyone coming from Cuba, generally, they're gonna be fundamentally on top of their stuff. But yeah, I think that at this stage, so he did fight. That Charles Martin fight was actually, I was thinking it was last year, but it was actually in January of this year. So he has a
Mm.
fight here this year. And I think his career, of course, is on that back nine, and I imagine it's going to be winding down at some point. And I think that the youth of Andrew Ruiz will prove to be in his favor. Now,
Yeah.
Ruiz will have to certainly watch for anything big with Ortiz, similar to how Martin was winning the fight with Ortiz prior to getting caught with something huge, and ultimately he was stopped. So I think that is the type of approach that Ruiz is going to have to take as far as making sure that he's able to apply his offense and prevent Ortiz from landing anything significant if he best can. And I think that he can see it through with a decision victory. A stoppage could be possible at some point, but I'm not 100% sure. But I certainly lean towards an Ortiz or a Ruiz decision over King Kong Ortiz in this matchup, and that'll be, sort of this is an opportunity. I think the opportunity or how Andy Ruiz looks, I think there's more pressure at least for him to look good in this fight because of the fact that since that second Joshua fight, he seemingly sort of just squandered away a lot of momentum that he had, being practically on top of the world when he got the win over Joshua. And he wasn't able to sustain it and capitalize off of that newfound fame because he kind of lost track a bit there. So I think the spotlight's going to be more on him and how he looks, and if we can continue to take Ruiz as a serious heavyweight title contender or challenger here in the aftermath of having won them and sort of tasted what that victory and that fame felt like.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. This is going to be an important fight for him, to kind of establish himself, or keep his place among the elite. If he should fail tonight, then he will probably also himself want to kind of go back to just fighting mediocre opponents, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that kind of what he was doing prior to the Joshua fight outside of facing Parker. And
Yeah.
of course, we mentioned, yeah, in his last fight, we've often mentioned, at least I would say, his last fight was against Chris Arreola, who has
Yeah.
long been past his best. And we're gonna find out if Andy Ruiz's performance in that fight was an anomaly, or if this is just what we're gonna expect to see from Ruiz at this point.
Mm,
Because I
exactly.
don't think
Yeah.
anyone expected him and Areola, or at least that fight, to go the way that it did, with Ruiz barely scraping by a win over Areola.
Yeah, that was embarrassing for him, and yeah, definitely not what I expected. Also, so yeah, you never know with him. That's the problem. He can sometimes really he delivers. Like against Joshua, even against all expectations, he
Hmm.
delivers above expectations, and then sometimes he delivers below expectations. So that's how I would sum him up his career so far. And
Yeah,
yeah. Also in the Joshua rematch, even though Joshua did kind of avoid exchanges there, but still, Ruiz could have been a little more aggressive, but he was in bad shape.
yeah,
Didn't
yeah.
do almost anything. He didn't do anything in that fight, you might say.
Yeah, he was just plodding around.
Yeah, just and waiting. Let's come here so I can hit you. Yeah, big one.
Yeah, that is indeed the case. So yeah, so spotlights on you here, Andrew Ruiz. Let's see what you're able to do here tonight. And the actual card in itself isn't too bad. This is a pay per view, of course, but the card in itself, the undercard that is, has some pretty decent fights that are on there. It looks like the co-main event maybe is Isaac Cruz making his return. He's going to be taking on Eduardo Ramirez. So this will be
Hmm.
Isaac Cruz. This will be his first time in the ring since April of this year, when he beat Yuriorkis Gamboa. And of course, we know prior to that, he had gone the distance with Gervonta Davis. And Cruz, he has a lot of fans, a lot of backing. A lot of people love the pit bull. So
Yeah,
this should be an interesting matchup, because Ramirez, he will try to bring it to him, and make it very much a fight. And I think that could that will prove to be exciting for the viewing audience. And it looks like there's a WBC silver lightweight title on the line, whatever that means.
yeah. Well, I don't know much about Ramirez, but Cruz, yeah, I have seen his fights against Gamboa and Tank Davis. I know he's a very solid fighter and very aggressive, very good aggression fighter. And I just see that Ramirez is like doesn't look like he's a puncher. He's
No, no,
12, only 12 KOs and 27 possible so far.
yeah,
So
he's
yeah,
been in with some pretty solid guys. He's the one that took out Lidwan Barthelemy,
oh yeah, right
who
with
had
one.
some promise, at least early on.
Oh, he actually fought Lee Selby. Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so his resume, yeah, if you look at it from top to bottom, he has some pretty decent names on
Oh
there,
yeah, Miguel
for sure.
Mariaga. Yeah, also Mariaga.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Miguel Flores,
Luis
who is going to be taking
Melendez.
on Abner Mares, and who fought Leo Santa Cruz and lost.
Mm, yeah,
Isaac
so
Avalar.
this is actually a rather evenly matched fight. It seems.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
just that
it's not
Cruz
bad.
is slightly more like how do you say it, action like Tyson like fighter than
Yeah,
Ramirez.
yeah,
Yeah.
he is. I guess that's
Okay.
how I got that name, Pitbull. Yeah, he is
Yeah.
about that action, and I guess it's not going back down for him. He's going to continue to campaign at 135 pounds. And I
Um,
remember, with him moving up, especially in that fight with Gervonta, the question was
that's
whether
good.
the size would be a factor in terms of him having to jump up in weight, because I believe
Yeah.
he either came from 130 or 126. But uh,
Everybody else seems to be moving from 135 to 140,
I
so it's
know.
good that he is not gonna do that now. So
Yeah, so I think he's a player there at 135 by virtue of some
Yeah,
of the shifting we've seen, as you mentioned, because his name was thrown out there with Ryan Garcia, but now Garcia is at 140. So I don't know if that's going to happen. I would have liked to have
yeah,
seen that because I thought it would be an interesting style class, much like it'll be an interesting style class between Garcia and Tank because Garcia taller, longer, and Cruz and Tank being shorter, stockier fighters. Tank, of course, having that eraser, which separates him from the pack in some sense.
oh yeah, right.
But yeah, it would have been interesting to see that. But now I guess at 135 you have Devin Haney, who is the man at 135 now. At least you got to say he's
Yeah,
the man. He has pretty much all the belts.
if he doesn't lose to
Yeah, and
bosses,
yeah, and he's
yeah,
earned it. He went to enemy territory in some sense, and he was able to pick up those titles. And I know that he's going to be fighting in that rematch again. I don't recall what the date is, but they're
yeah,
going to
that's
have
right.
that rematch. It's going to be down under once again, and I
Oh
think
yeah,
that
right.
Haney is going to prove victorious. I don't see him slowing down at this point.
Yeah, I don't think Cambosos has what it takes to beat him. Yeah,
Yeah.
mm,
So sliding counter. Hey, welcome, buddy. Thanks for dropping by. So sliding counter says Ruiz has a good volume punching, but Ortiz has that straight left fight changing power. It'll be interesting. Hey, agree, definitely agree. Sliding counter. We were just chatting about that, and I was mentioning how Charles Martin he was winning the fight with Ortiz earlier this year, and I was thinking that Martin was going to take it, but Ruiz caught him, or no, Ortiz caught him, and
easy.
it was over from there. I mean, it was
Oh yeah, he's
he
got.
took him out, had him bloodied and battered by the end of the fight, or whenever it was finally stopped. So that is something Ruiz is certainly going to have to be leery of, especially in light of him having been dropped by Areola in his last fight. That same punch
Yeah,
coming from Ortiz could have played out a little bit differently for Ruiz as far as his recovery. So he's going to have to be on edge and on guard for sure.
yeah. The only way I see Ortiz winning is, of course, by a knockout, sudden, sudden knockout like that. Not
Yeah,
like breaking down Ruiz over several rounds. I don't think he can do it that way. So
yeah. Which he's certainly capable of, as we mentioned,
yeah,
and yeah, and I think that is certainly going to be a factor playing out throughout because we do know that Ruiz he can tend to get a little bit lazy in there, and that might be an opportunity in which Ortiz can really put something on him.
yeah. But
And
we haven't seen him in this shape before, so we don't know how
oh yeah,
he will perform. He may perform better now. I mean, he should be less lazy now that he's lost so much weight.
so yeah, maybe that's a sign that he's on the up and up. I'm just seeing the pictures now. I had been hearing that Ruiz was in top
He
condition,
looks
and you know
very
what?
well.
We haven't seen him out there on social media or anything like that. We haven't really heard much from him,
Yeah,
so that means he was probably truly taking it serious, and he seems to understand the stakes. So yeah, I'm looking
yeah,
at the pictures now, and yeah, you can tell he visibly does look to be in better shape for sure.
yeah. That's why I said when I saw those pictures, I was like, "What? This is really him?" Like, come on, no way.
Hmm. Yeah.
So
So
yeah,
so yeah, this is actually a pretty
mm,
decent fight. You know, make me want to get it somewhat, but we'll see. I'm gonna
I
watch it
think
regardless, but we'll see what goes down.
I think he also has actually maybe a chance to stop Ortiz down the road because Ortiz can't tire, in late rounds, and if he lands enough punches on him, he can pull off and yeah, a
Oh
late
yeah,
stoppage. Yeah,
yeah, without a doubt. Shout out to Bruce Gas in the building, baby. Bruce Gas,
Oh,
Boxing Jazz, and more. Shout out to him. Be sure to go check out his page and give it a follow. I mean, I'm talking about some of the best boxing content you can find on YouTube, without a doubt. I actually got to chat with Bruce for a little bit the other night. We're talking about Ernie Shavers. So yeah, R.I.P.
oh
Ernie
yeah,
Shavers. We hadn't talked about that.
oh
Boz,
yeah,
I know that you've seen a lot of what Ernie Shavers were able to do. I haven't seen a ton of his stuff. I'm familiar with him, and
yeah.
I've seen, of course, some of his biggest knockouts and all of that. But
Yeah,
I know that I can't explain it in a way that someone like you can, in terms of how good he was for the time that he was in.
yeah. I
So
mean, against Muhammad Ali, for instance, he was pretty good. I think he only fought in once, right? Yeah, I think so.
yeah, I believe
Yeah,
so. Yeah.
he fought Holmes twice, and I know in the first fight he had Holmes down. Yeah, so
Yeah, that was one of the ones we were looking at, those Holmes fights when I was
yeah,
on Bruce's
but
stream.
yeah, his most impressive victory was when he knocked out Ken Norton in one round. So that's, but
Black Hercules.
even though Ken was not, he was no longer at his best, but all right, he was still not 50 years old,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
so he just got, bombed out in that fight. That was wow. When I watched it first time, wow,
yeah,
man.
yeah. But undoubtedly, Shavers one of the bigger punches the sport, the biggest punches, or one of the
Yeah,
biggest punches or punchers that the sport has ever
hmm,
seen.
yeah,
And his name rings bells when you think about that. And this has been substantiated by the competition that he's fought as well. So, what better than to really substantiate those claims than your peers even sharing and saying this? You know?
when I think about it, his last name was kind of suitable because his punches could shave you, based on literally, he could shave you, shave your
Without a
chin.
doubt. Without a doubt. I mean, yeah, he was there in that prime area. It was like a
Yeah,
prime era of
a small.
heavyweight boxing there in the 70s,
Yeah.
80s, going into the
Today,
80s.
today would have been really short heavyweight. Back then, he was, small, short, but not, as
Yeah,
not really, so much as he would have been today, of course. So,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Which
it's,
even more of a testament that yeah, you're right. He wasn't like one of the larger heavyweights, but
yeah.
everyone said that that punch they felt, and
Mm,
so I think that's a testament. Some people just have that sort of raw power that they're just born with. You can't teach that or
yeah.
anything.
Yeah, he wasn't much of a boxer, really, technically. I mean, I guess sometimes he could guess because if you watch one of his fights, that's a good fight against Bernardo Mercado. You
Oh
know,
yeah, we watched that one. Yeah, that was good.
yeah, yeah. At first, I believe he put Mercado down, but then he kind of guessed, and then he was stopped in the seventh round. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was a good fight. Certainly, yeah.
yeah,
Shavers, he had moments where he was you could see that he was skilled, he could box and all that stuff, but he
yeah,
certainly susceptible to fading later in fights. If he would have gotten that piece of it right, who knows
yeah.
what the limits would have been.
And against Ron Lyle, also the same thing happened. He put
Yeah.
him down first, and then later in the sixth round, I think he was stopped. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah, definitely susceptible to that fading. Sliding counter says, how do you guys think stylistically Shavers would have done against Foreman or Frazier?
Foreman, I don't know, not that good. Foreman was just too much for him, I think. But who knows? I mean,
Yeah.
Foreman was down twice against Lyle, so Lyle was just a puncher, not much more than that. But what a puncher also he was.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, I think that would have been excellent right there. Yeah, I have high regards for Big George,
Yeah,
especially that younger version of him, my man. Some of those
Big
shots he was laying
George.
on these opponents would be brutal. I do think Shavers would have given Frazier some problems. That's just my opinion. Just giving Frazier's penchant for kind of really being that come forward guy. Of course, he had that leaping left hook he would get out there,
Yeah,
but I think that Shavers would have been able to land
yeah.
Frazier a good deal,
Was
and that would have made it interesting.
they were about equal in height. I mean, Shea was maybe a little just slightly taller. So yeah, it
Yeah.
would have been a lot easier for him to land on Frazier.
So yeah, that certainly would have been an interesting one there, for sure. But yeah, him and George, Big George, man, yeah, you talking
Mhm.
about some heavy shots being thrown potentially.
You know what? I always was wondering about how would like guys like Holyfield and Tyson do against those guys from the '70s.
Oh yeah, yeah, that would
That's
have been interesting.
yeah. Well, too interesting.
Yeah, because that would have been Holyfield. He was man, he's such a warrior. He would
Yeah,
take some punishment. Of course, he'd be dishing it out, but man, he would, especially
yeah.
against Riddick Bowe. Some of those shots he were taking were huge, and this is a big man, so hey, he's tough. I got to give him that.
Yeah, he actually did fight Foreman, but that was an older, of course.
Oh
So
yeah,
it's,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, certainly George. Not that he was ever much of a mover per se, but yeah,
yeah.
that's just like a different version of George.
It was funny, after I don't know which round it was, but Angelo, then he was like, just, you got a jab, George. He was like very, calm, but he was like, you got a
Yeah.
jab, George.
Hey, yeah, and I will say that, man. Even that George at that age, man, he was eating some big shots. But he was eating
Yeah,
them.
yeah. And he also landed quite
Yeah.
many against Holyfield. I
Well,
don't
that's a
think
testament
people,
to the chin that Holyfield had, because he too
yeah,
wasn't a huge heavyweight, at least considering how he started.
yeah, yeah, that's right. I think
Sliding
he
counter
nobody.
salute to you, Bruce. Sliding counter says, I think Holyfield would have done better in the '70s era than Tyson, in my opinion. Yeah, hey, you
Well,
could be
yeah,
on
I
to something there.
agree. I
Yeah,
tend to agree actually because he was. I mean, he was such a warrior, as you said, and you know what Teddy Atlas said about Tyson. I guess I kind of agree. He said whenever there was something to overcome for him, he didn't
yeah,
do it. He didn't manage to, so he lost. So yeah,
yeah. It would have been interesting, and Tyson, yeah, that's like one of my favorite fighters, my favorite fighter, I guess you can say. But yeah, I think he would have had certainly some interesting
yeah,
fights. It would have been there would have been some trouble there. He'd run into some stiffer trouble in tests in that
yeah,
particular time. Just thinking about it, and of course, that mental piece of it was going to be a factor in some of those competitions. I think he did a good job of the way he went about his aura, and he was able to express himself through nonverbal means, just giving the way he carried himself when he was heading to a fight. So I think he
yeah.
would have been good, certainly, but there definitely would have been yeah. I don't know if that trajectory to the title would have been the same.
Yeah, I mean the problem with Tyson was when everything went his way, then he could beat anyone. You might say
Yeah,
anybody, and but when it didn't, when something didn't really go, the way he was used to, he would struggle. Like for instance, look at Tony Tucker fight.
oh
He
yeah.
he didn't certainly didn't look good there because he had to fight a really huge guy. I mean, very tall guy who could box and punch also. So he
Yeah,
had to really struggle to beat him. I would say.
I think about the Bone Crusher fight. It
Yeah,
was
bone
you can tell
crush.
Tyson was frustrated at points. It's just like, man,
Yeah,
he wanted to get him out of there, but he couldn't at that particular point.
yeah, he was like doing his best to just negate Tyson's offense any way he could.
Yeah, so certainly some interesting stuff. So yeah, I think Holyfield, yeah, he man, yeah, just given his style, yeah, it just translates
Mm,
to any era overall. His toughness. I
yeah.
mean, the way he was able to, because he was taking some shots from from big heavyweights
Oh yeah. He was such
throughout
an
his career.
Yeah, and he was such an athlete also, so very athletic, and his movement, his agility, everything was just amazing, unbelievable way he
Yeah,
was built,
yeah. Hey, John Perkinson says, remember how Foreman had trouble with Ali and Lyle's right hand against Shaver? Who knows? Hey, good point. That's
Yeah,
what you mentioned as well, Boz. Yeah, that Lyle fight, which was exciting
yeah,
for
it was
sure.
amazing. I mean, well, I know. I think the second time Foreman was down, he looked like he was out. He was like,
Yeah.
like a tree. Totally helpless. But had really good recuperative abilities,
Mm-hmm.
obviously.
Yeah, I need to go check that out again. That was yeah, man, that was some exciting stuff.
Amazing, yeah, just
Big
amazing.
punchers right there. Yeah, Ron Lyle, yeah, he could certainly punch.
Oh yeah,
So
he
yeah, so
is.
Shavers would have certainly had a chance.
Yeah, Shavers would have probably. I think so. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
if he could have knocked out Foreman, but why not? Maybe I think if anybody could, he and
Mm-hmm.
Tyson would be most probably favored to. Yeah,
Yeah, John Perkinson says they seem more athletic and skilled in the '70s. That was a good mixture for sure. You did have that good mix of athleticism and skill set. Um, like we
probably.
have a lot of athletic guys today. Some of them not as skilled for sure. Some of them not as
Yeah,
skilled. So those guys back then, yeah, they were pretty skilled. So you were getting top level, top caliber fights in terms of guys who could really box. In addition to their traits and attributes that help them stand out from the
yeah.
pack. So yeah,
Also,
that's some validity.
in the 80s, you had Mike Weaver and Frank Bruno who looked like, bodybuilders. They were really
Yeah,
amazing when you look at it. Wow, this is a boxer.
yeah. Yeah, they win fights on picture, but once you actually get in there, it's a different
And Mike
story.
Mike Weaver was actually pretty underrated, I would say. So
Oh
shout
yeah,
out, all hail Mike Weaver. Hail.
Hercules too. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
he was. I mean, he had some. I think
yeah.
yeah.
He
I was.
got better. That's what I like. He wasn't that good at first. He
Yeah,
lost quite a
yeah,
lot of
yeah,
fights. Yeah.
yeah. I was. Yeah, it's either gonna be in a video that I'm working right now, and yeah, he certainly early on it wasn't. I don't know that he took the sport as serious because it wasn't like
Yeah.
he just joined it for a love of it. Even how
Mm,
it came about. He joined the team while he was in the Marine Corps, and
yeah.
so he wasn't one of these guys who was just young and been fighting since they were little or whatever. In that sense.
Yeah.
So he had to kind of grow into it, and yeah,
And
that's
he had
not bad. He was
yeah.
tough.
I think he started boxing in the army actually.
Yeah. Well, Marine Corps.
Yeah, Marine Corps. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
sorry.
yeah,
I
yeah,
think that it started like I read that he was
yeah.
why he was like how do you say it, spurned to start boxing. He was once arguing with a boxing Marine
Yeah,
heavyweight champion over which song to play on jukebox, and then he kind of knocked him out. They got
yeah,
into
yeah,
a fight.
yeah. It
Then
was.
everybody was like, "You got a box, you
Yeah,
knocked
and
out."
apparently that guy was one of the champions for the base or whatever.
All right, yeah, that's right.
That's
I
funny stuff.
think he also lost to Dwayne Bobbick in the Marines, and then he also later in the pros. But that was the early
Mm.
Mike Weaver. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, he was man. Yeah, he's one of those guys that goes to show like you never know any given day, any given Saturday, Sunday, whatever it may
yeah,
be. You just never know because when he was able to put everything together in the right way, he was very good.
yeah. He gave Holmes a really tough fight. He kind of
Hmm.
got unlucky the way he was hit with that punch that dropped him in 11th round, I think. So
Oh
he
yeah,
was. I mean, Holmes. Have you watched that interview recently? It was, I believe, on Vlad TV. Maybe it was. Probably. So Holmes said, "Yeah, Mike gave me a beating." He said, actually.
oh yeah, Mike Weaver. But yeah, man, yeah, good stuff right there. But yeah, '70s was certainly a good time, just thinking
Yeah,
about it overall.
like 70s boxing and 90s NBA. Those two are,
Oh
the
yeah,
best.
90s NBA.
Yeah,
Yeah, I came up watching that for sure. Seeing MJ do his thing.
yeah. Charles Barkley and all those guys. Shaq, of course.
Barkley. But yeah, cool stuff. So yeah, that's yeah, I guess we talked about the Ortiz card, Ortiz Ruiz, that's coming up.
Yeah.
Charles Martin is actually going to be fighting on that card against a Devin Vargas, which interesting. We'll see how that goes. But yeah,
Mm.
Jose Valenzuela is going to be fighting Edwin de los Santos. So Valenzuela has looked pretty solid thus far. He beat Francisco Vargas, who probably shouldn't have been fighting
Oh
last
yeah.
time out. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, so that should be an interesting one. Let me see if I know Santos. Who did he fight? He lost to William Foster. Is that? Do I know William Foster?
Yeah.
No. But I've heard of Avery Sparrow, who he has a knockout over. But so yeah,
Mm.
interesting fights on the card. I think the undercard. I think it's not bad by comparison to some we've seen,
Yeah.
especially considering it's a pay-per-view. Oh yeah, now Abner Mares is going to be fighting down
Oh
there.
yeah.
Abner,
We,
he's dying to get in there. I guess if you got that competitive edge, man, it's just like
yeah.
what can you
Yeah.
do
I
to
know he
stop him?
doesn't have much to win now or anything really. So he's
Yeah,
fighting.
I just
That's not
worry about his eye, because you could
correct.
visibly see that his eye was messed up in there. I don't know where it's at now, but he wears those sunglasses primarily. I think he's trying to
Talk
cover it.
about getting unlucky. I mean, when he just won that world, I think WBC title. Then in
Yeah.
the first round, first defense, he gets to fight Johnny Gonzalez, who's so
Oh
dangerous.
yeah, yeah, man,
Puncher.
that left hook Johnny
Yeah,
landed was a thing of beauty.
in one round, and before that, they were like building him up. The HBO, they showed him with his family, like the next great champion or whatever, and then
Yeah,
it's boom, it's all gone.
yeah, that thing was something special. I mean, because it was coming low. He tricked him and Mares into thinking that was coming to the body. It brought that thing up
Yeah,
top, and man, he was done.
yeah, Johnny, he was amazing. I mean, he's amazing fighter. I think.
Yeah, he has a ton of fights under his belt, so he's an example of one of those guys. Man, that
Yeah,
experience you get in there is like you can assume that
yeah, I
just because
think
he has
he's
12
got.
losses or something that you're gonna be able to just go in there and take him out. But that came with experience, and
Yeah,
and these guys, especially when you're coming out of Mexico, oftentimes they're not brought up with any sort of like specific or dedicated plan. They just have to fight their way to the top, and see who ends up on
yeah,
top.
exactly. Yeah, I think he's got like over 70 fights for sure.
Yeah. Xavier the boxer nerd. Hey, shout out Xavier. Thanks for coming through, buddy. He says Estrada looked like he was
Oh,
admiring every punch he threw until it started to get dire about halfway through the fight.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
is.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, Xavier, we were just talking about how DAZN in the aftermath of the fight, they tweeted out uh, that December 3rd will be Chocolatito versus Estrada 3. So there could have been a case, or I think it might have definitely been a case where he was looking ahead a bit, and it turned out to be one hell of a fight that he probably wasn't expecting with Cortez.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, that's right. I don't think many expected that some sort of such a
Yeah.
close and hard fight for Estrada, because after all, he is Estrada. He is
Juan
the
Francisco Estrada.
boxing master from Mexico.
Yes.
When I first heard of him, actually, when he beat Brian Villoria, I couldn't believe that Brian was. Yeah, I was a fan of his, and when I saw that he lost, What? He lost to that guy, some unknown. Because I didn't know Estrada back then, but I knew that he had to be good, of course, to beat
Who? I'm
Villoria.
sorry. Who are you mentioning?
Brian Villoria.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay. Oh
yeah,
yeah, I remember Valoria. Yeah.
yeah, Estrada beat him in 2013. That was like the end of Brian
Oh, Brian
Villoria's.
Valoria. I haven't heard that name in a while.
Yeah, I think he has retired. He has
Yeah.
lost a few fights. He was also stopped by Chocolatito after that.
Yeah,
In
Brian
9 rounds,
Valoria.
I think, something, 10.
Yeah, he used to be all his nicknames Hawaiian Punch. Yeah, old Brian.
Yeah, he's not the only one with that nickname. It's very popular. The Baltas, yeah.
Oh he was pretty solid for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, I recall Brian.
yeah, really great athletic gifts and punch and everything, speed, but
He
he's a,
actually last fought in 2018. He lost.
right.
There was a WBA World Flyweight title on the line. Artem Dal Dalakian,
Oh, the Lakian, yeah,
Dalakian,
he's the guy who
Ukrainian
fights
fighter.
for Ukraine, but he's an Armenian, actually, I think. Yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
he hasn't fought since. Well, he fought in 2021, but he's
yeah,
been
right.
fighting. He only fought once in 2019, 2020, and 2021. Of course, we know there's a lot going on over there now. I don't know where he fights out of, but he
And And by the way, when we are
35.
while we are at Armenian boxers, what's up with that guy Gulamirian cruiserweight? I don't know. He hasn't had a fight since December 2019, and he's still like listed as an active fighter, like as a champion. I don't
What's
know.
his name?
Arsen Gulamirian,
Arsen Gulamir.
Gou. Is there a H? I don't think so. L. Yeah,
Oh, okay. I see. Arsen. Have I seen him?
Gulamirian.
Okay, he's residing. Oh no, he's French, but
Yeah, he's
he was
like
born in
French.
Armenia. Yeah.
Yeah, French citizen but born in Armenia.
Okay. Yeah, he hasn't fought since 2019. I don't know if I've seen him actually. He's a
I think,
cruiserweight,
yeah. There
but
was
yeah.
some talk of him fighting, who was it? One of those other top guys. I don't know. Or even maybe that guy who was from Kazakhstan, Shumenov. Shumenov. You remember him?
Mm,
Beirut.
Camaro. Yeah, I don't know if I recall him off top, to be honest.
Yeah, he lost. He was the WBA light heavyweight champion, and Bernard Hopkins beat him when
Oh,
he
okay.
won the
Oh,
other
Shumanov. Oh, okay, gotcha. I thought you were
yeah,
saying
tall
Shimmer.
tall guy, yeah, from
Yes,
Kazakhstan.
Shumanov. Yeah, Beirut Shumanov or something
Beirut,
like that.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened to him. He kind of like fell off the map after that Hopkins fight.
yeah, he did. But he was like first he retired, and he came back, then he retired again after one more fight. I think
Yeah,
that's
let me
weird.
see. Beirut Shumanov. It is interesting, yeah, because I remember. I mean, he was looking like he was gonna do some special things. So he hasn't fought through since 2018.
Yeah,
So I guess he's done. You know,
yeah, I think so. He's
Kazakh.
also I don't know. He's like how old is he? I think he was born like 83 or 4 or
Yeah,
something.
that's when Hopkins was knocking off all the young guys, or at least he was attempting to.
Well, we beat him on points, but I think he dropped him anyway.
Yeah, Hopkins was like, "Hey, I'm gonna find a weakness. I'm gonna take on all these young title contenders or champions. I'm gonna find their weakness."
Yeah,
But I eventually
also,
caught up with him with Joe Smith.
yeah, just bam.
Yeah, it was crazy. Sliding counter says, "You guys think the winner of Estrada versus Gonzalez 3 will fight Rodriguez, which would be a hell of a fight. Either way you slice it up, or if we can get a combination of them each fighting at some point,
Rodriguez, who is Rodriguez?
Bam,
Which one?
Bam
Oh
Rodriguez.
yeah, yeah, that would be good, really great, actually.
Yeah, I agree. I would love to see that. Man, that'd be cool if we were able to get that in some capacity. Their
Yeah,
slide encounter. I mean, wow, yeah, just the thought of it. I'm sure Bam would likely be down. I mean, he's already on a high trajectory now with the way he
and
was able to take out Sarisikat Sarungvisai, who I thought that Sarungvisai's power would be too much and he would catch Bam at some point. But man, Bam's footwork is out of this world, you know.
mm,
Um, Man, and yeah, it's sort of like how we were talking about Lomachenko's footwork, especially early on when he first kind of jumped on the pro scene. Yeah, Bam Rodriguez has that level of footwork in terms of, man, he just moves so gracefully and well in there, and man, he
mm,
can transition in and out of position. It's amazing. So that would be
yeah,
good to him to see.
mm,
And these are the types of this will make for those type of classic matchups you see in the boxing where the torch is sort of passed in a sense, or at least that
yeah,
opportunity for that torch passing. You know, if he was able to get in there with one of those guys,
mm,
we really get to see that star on Rodriguez shine brighter if you were able to get a victory. That would be cool.
yeah. Of course, definitely.
I want to see those fights. Those guys should get they should get
Yeah, I
some
mean,
play, get some TV
bo-
play. You know.
both Estrada and Gonzalez have been, there for a while at the top. I mean, so now would be all right with some fresh blood.
Yeah,
We,
yeah.
yeah, on the top.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Good one there. Xavier the Boxing Nerd. Estrada is no slouch, top champion and boxer. However, I feel like his boxing abilities are somewhat overstated by many. When I think master boxer, I think someone closer to Barney Ross or Juan Manuel Marquez. Oh
Yeah,
yeah, man, yeah, Marquez beast, Barney Ross beast. You know, he's gonna be in a video that I'm doing on
yeah,
Marine Corps fighters coming up. I've had it
uh,
for a minute, but I just hadn't
yeah.
completed it. But
I would say I would call actually in comparison to those two, I would call Estrada like a clever brawler, more like something like that. You know,
yeah, he can. Yeah, he's skilled. I mean, he
yeah,
can put his punches together for sure. Um, yeah, he'll get into some fights, you know, and then
mm,
you know when you think, you know, just taking it from the standpoint of just boxing and not being susceptible to these these wild and sustained exchanges. Yeah, Estrada has a penchant for sure of getting into his firefights, and we saw that with Cortez last night because
yeah,
he was eating some shots without a doubt. So
oh yeah,
you can say that defensively, yeah, he certainly no Barney Ross either. And then Marquez as a counterpuncher for sure was top level, and of course he's better at that without a doubt. So yeah, Estrada is one of those guys, you know, who's skilled. He can box for sure, but yeah, I can understand where you're coming from there, Xavier, for sure.
yeah. It looked like he was breaking. I mean, at one point he tried to knock Castro, was it? Yeah, down
Yeah,
out, but then he, ran into really hard resistance, and he said, "No, I'm not gonna try this anymore."
yeah. And you know, and with yeah, with him, his yeah, Estrada, yeah, you know, his boxing ability doesn't necessarily blow you away in that sense either, you know.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's Xavier the Boxer says. That's why I say boxer, puncher, more on the puncher side, but clever. Certainly,
Hmm.
certainly.
Yeah,
I think that's a good way of summing it up. Certainly.
yeah. It's like, as I said, he's just that he's not as aggressive maybe as Chocolatito, but he's still, a fighter, more than a boxing, whatever you call it, chess player, you know.
Yeah, yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, I look forward to that third fight with Chocolatito because I think that Chocolatito's looked very good. You know, I've mentioned that, and man, offensively, he seems to still be on his game. So he's gonna give
Yeah,
Estrada some problems.
yeah,
So I'm looking forward to it.
Their first fight was in like 10 years ago, right? When
Yeah, it had been a minute. It had been a minute.
Chocolatito won that on points, I know. But it was kind of close, maybe, yeah, I think.
Yeah, let me pull this up.
So then it was like, yeah.
Chocolatito, when they fight Estrada. Yeah, it had been a minute because I'm going down. Yeah, it was 2012.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
2012.
So it's been 10 years going on this rivalry.
Yeah, that's pretty insane.
Yeah, it's kind of like, that guy from Thailand, what was his name? Virapol Sahaprom, who fought Toshiaki in Shoka 4 times. And 2 of them were draws.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, amazing.
Yeah, it's interesting. But yeah, that man, I mean, yeah, yeah, 2012. We're about to get the third fight here in 2022.
Yeah.
Just crazy when you think about it, that 10-year gap there.
He's
But
also had
legit.
like, just reading his record, he's had like, well, with Carlos Quadras, he fought also twice, I think.
Yeah. Oh,
And so,
Quadras.
yeah. And Sri Saket, he fought twice as well. One and
Mhm.
one. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and yeah, he looked good in that second fight with Sarissa Cat. I kind
yeah.
of came in favoring Sarissa Cat in that one, but man, yeah, I think you saw his ability boxing wise in that fight as well because
Hmm. I actually haven't seen it, but I will try to, yeah.
oh
But
yeah, it's
yeah.
one. Sarissa Cat, he wasn't really able to get off anything anything that I would say really hurt or troubled Estrada because he boxed very well in that fight.
Hmm.
And Sarissa Cat, of course, and it wasn't like
He
I
won the
think Sarissa
first.
Cat was still,
Yeah.
he's still dangerous just as he was coming into that Bam Rodriguez fight. But certainly, if you can move on him and really not allow him to sit and throw his punches, Sarissa Cat's a run for side, then yeah, you can certainly outbox him.
Yeah. I mean, he's an aggression, also fighters. I mean, a puncher, and yeah, a swarmer, and yeah. So, not really a technical fighter, I would say. But
Yeah,
he has done well against some technical fighters, I guess. Yes, yeah.
yeah. He has, and I mean, yeah, he's racked up some nice wins, and he's
Yeah,
fighting some top competition. Hey, but sometimes, hey, you got to be able to move and do your thing.
yeah.
Xavier the Boxing Nerd says, "How bad was Sarissa Cat's loss? Do you think he's done? I didn't catch it. Man, it was bad. It was bad. It was Bam Rodriguez. Man, it was almost like Sarissa Cat didn't belong, and I think it was because the movement of Bam Rodriguez was too much. So I don't think Sarissa Cat's done in the sense that there are other guys out there who won't pose the same problems that he had with Bam Rodriguez. I think that Bam Rodriguez turned out to be a complete style mismatch for him. I mean, if he's got someone who's going to get in there and bang with him, then of course Sarissa Cat, he'll be able to do some good things because his power is legit. But yeah, that's worth checking out. I would say his fight against Bam Rodriguez, but it was one sided. It was very much one sided, sort of one sided like Muhammad Ali against Cleveland Williams one sided in that sense, in terms of like it was all Ali in that fight. It's the same with Bam Rodriguez. Sarissa Cat was able to land a few decent shots, but man, Bam Rodriguez, he wasn't phased at all. He's man, the way he took him out just let me know that this guy he's destined for some greatness if he keeps up this same trajectory. And man, he'll make for some very interesting matchups. So I think that's why people are kind of throwing
But
his
it
name
was
out there with the likes of Chocolatito and Estrada, even at this point, because man, he has the goods. And Sarissa Cat, man, he looked bad after that fight, and you
yeah.
just had to see it. He got busted
Actually,
up and everything.
actually, that was his first knockout loss since his first two fights. Those were
Yeah,
the only other ones where he was stopped. So that says a lot.
yeah, without a doubt. And I haven't seen those fights, but this I would assume had to be his worst loss right here,
Yeah, he
especially at
was.
this level. And it was the main
Yeah,
event, so people
when he
just got
was
to see him
starting
get
out,
this
it's
shellacking.
yeah, he was like still on top here. I mean, against Bam Bam, and you're starting out. You're not a complete fighter usually. Well,
Yeah,
somewhat, but he wasn't obviously. So yeah,
yeah. What I left with from that fight is for Sarungvisai, stay far away from Bam Rodriguez or Bam Rodriguez like fighters, because it
Mm,
was that much of a one sided shellacking he took.
yeah, and he looks like a kid, Ben Rodriguez actually, but he fights like a bad man.
Without a doubt. Xavier the Boxing Nerd says, from the little I've seen of Bam, I think he's one of the few fighters out that fights the style of the old era. Is much more clever than the vast majority of what is out there. Hey, I agree with that, Xavier. I think that's a spot on assessment right there. You could just tell he's super polished. I mean, I don't know when he started boxing, but I'm assuming he's been doing it since he was a kid, and he's technically still a kid. I guess he's like 20 or 21. He was the youngest champion, at least when he ended up picking up his title. So I'm assuming he's still the youngest world champion right now. But man, yeah, it just looks like he's been doing this for a long time, and he's at such a young age. Yeah, it's insane, man. He's good.
Yeah, it is.
He is very good.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
then
well,
sliding counter says, yeah, Rodriguez uh, has that Orlando Canizales and Vasily Lomachenko type footwork and transitioning. Yes, indeed, man. Yeah, he's so smooth with it as well. It's
mm,
seamless. It's one of those situations where a guy doesn't even have to really think about it because it's just like so natural for him. So he's a
mm,
natural. There are some guys, we say and we can see and we can like, okay, yeah, those guys look different. They look different than the competition right now. And
mm,
he's one of those type of guys. He just looks so natural and seamless for him there in the ring. And the way he handled Sarissa Cat, man, you would think that Sarissa Cat was not one of the top fighters, one of the top flyweights in the world with the way he was handled there. I was
mm.
yeah, I was telling a coworker who watches boxing. She's a casual fan. She watches it here and there. And I was telling her about this fight, and she got to see him, and it was like amazing. And she felt that Sarissa Cat didn't belong in there, and I was telling her, hey, no, he's legit. But
He is the bigger name actually.
yeah, he's legit. But man, Bam is that guy. So I want to see
Yeah,
him. I want to see him in some of those matchups there. And they said that his last fight he could go up or down. Apparently he can go down to 112. Apparently, which I guess I could see that because like I said, he's like 21, so he's not a big guy.
22.
It looks like
Yeah.
he's always in shape. So he could even go to 112. He could go from 112. He could go up to 118, or who knows.
Mm. Yeah, he will very likely.
Yeah, so it should be interesting.
Mm.
Should be interesting. But yeah, where are we at time wise? We're at
Almost.
128.
Yeah.
This is such a short podcast today. But no. But cool, man. Yeah. So I guess we can wrap things up. Of course, we have the pay per view tonight. The
Yeah.
Ruiz versus Ortiz pay per view. So I'm sure we're going to have a lot that comes out of that we'll be able to talk about, because as mentioned, I do think that that pay-per-view card turned out to be pretty solid. It turned out, which you usually don't get, especially in these ones that we feel should be on, premium cable or either regular network TV. But this pay-per-view card looks pretty decent, so I'm sure we'll have some things to talk about here next week. And then, of course, we touched on it a little bit, but the other big event is the women. They're going to show their skill and get some shine when Claressa Shields takes on Savannah Marshall here at the end of next week over there in the UK. I don't know if it could be O2 Arena. I don't recall for sure, but it's going to be Shields Marshall, and we're also going to get Mikaela Mayer versus Alycia Baumgarner. So 2 great fights that will be main and co-main coming up next week that I'm sure we'll be having some discussions about as well.
Yeah, why not?
So cool. But with that said, we appreciate everyone that jumped in. Be sure to hit up Boz at the Boxing Haven. If you're on Facebook, check out the Boxing Haven. We'll go in there and chat sometimes on some different things. A lot of info shared, fights that are upcoming, etc. Then he's on YouTube as well. We'll have to drop his page and the link and all that stuff. He does some predictions, all that good stuff. So, but yeah, we'll continue to keep pressing on this and bring you more.
Yep. Sure.
But yeah, thanks everyone that joined up. Sliding Counter, Xavier the Boxing Nerd, John Perkinson, Bruce Gass, my mom, of course, Andre Rodriguez, everyone who stopped by. We are appreciated, and we'll definitely catch you on the next one.
Yep.